As that way.
Okay, well, this presentation is called Demons or Schizophrenia. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share it from a Christian perspective, and then it's actually going to go towards the current mental health perspective of schizophrenia and how they're connected. And then I'm going to give you a paradigm that you probably haven't seen before, maybe some of you have, that I believe is going to add hope and is going to bridge the perhaps the negative, destructive connotations that have gone into our culture. And I'm going to start off with a short clip from a movie. Some of you, I'm sure, you've seen before. Pay close attention and don't get scared. And remember, demons or schizophrenia.
And you didn't disappoint. Then came the tares among the wheat. In that moment, spirit became matter, flesh became a vessel. Self-will and self-seeking began a lusting after sin and impurity. And man, created to be king over nature, became its slave. A master, conquered and fettered. And sin brought him and his descendants to us. And we began our forever mission to destroy you. He made you in his image, but we remade you in ours.
So that's it? That's your entire plan? Not to make something of your own, just to destroy us?
No. Our plan is to hurt him, to punish him. And we do that by destroying what he loves, which is you. You're nothing but a means to an end.
Oh, by the way, this movie, Nefarious, it was actually based on the book on the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. So another interesting kind of deposit that C.S. Lewis made in our culture here, besides being Aslan's Way, but also the whole kind of Christian perspective and mindset that we have today. There's been so many great authors and contributors that have given us a real kind of perspective. And this one, I believe, I mean, as far as I'm convinced, is the Christian perspective, where he talks about the demons. In this case, wanted to hurt God by hurting us. And if you look at what demon actually means, the term demon is derived from the Greek word daimon, which means a supernatural being or spirit. Though it has commonly been associated with evil or malevolent spirit, the term originally meant a spiritual being that influenced a person's character. So just take note that originally the term demon was not a negative, destructive, scary kind of entity, because today some of our culture believes that all these different thoughts of what a demon is. I mean, human spirits, animals, angels, UFOs, aliens, false gods. And so it just what really is a demon? That's what I'm asking. What does demon mean? And pretty soon we're going to see how is it associated with mental illness, particularly schizophrenia. And does it really have to have such a negative connotation as we see today in the movies? I mean, there's lots of other movies that I wanted to put in, Fallen, the one with Denzel Washington. That was great. I love that, how they have like Azazel and how the demons would go into other people. And I didn't have enough time to put that in, but maybe next time. Okay, so the demon originally means spirit or even genie. That's that di diamond, and it's actually it's separate from the devil, which actually comes from the word diabolos, or the divider. And it's interesting what the Bible has done. I think in the King James, especially, is the two are used synonymously. Like devils and demons are actually put in the same place. So that's one reason why how the Bible has actually blended, I think, the negativity of the word demon with devil. And we even associate those together now. I mean, what is the joke? How do you know, how do we know where the demon is going? Well, because he's on the highway to hell. It's like a joke, but I got more. Let's see. The other joke I gotta share is, what do you call a demon who's lost his horns? Absolutely pointless. Okay. And okay, so basically, moving forward, the Bible has this negative connotation of demon, and rightly so. But let's see how deep it goes. Look at this is all New Testament. Demons are spoken of as spiritual beings, enmity with God, having a certain power over man, recognize our Lord as the Son of God, belong to a number of those angels that kept their first estate, unclean spirits, fallen angels, angels of the devil, and they are the principalities and powers against we must wrestle. So it's no accident how deeply the demons are in our culture, even to the point where it's blended into how we view mental illness today. And check out this 1 minute.
What is schizophrenia? If you start reading about it, it literally is
totally
hearing
demonic.
voices and seeing things.
And multiple personalities.
Yes, and multiple. So I'm like, those are the three main signs of having a demon. So what happens is, if you have hearing voices, seeing things, multiple personality, what's going to happen? Okay, you're going to go to the doctor. The doctor is not going to say you have a demon, you need to get delivered. No doctor ever is going to say that. They're going to say you need medication because you have schizophrenia, you have bipolar, you have whatever they label it. So oftentimes people are being misdiagnosed thinking they're mentally ill when really they just have a demon. And I just talked to people, someone recently that was diagnosed. Actually, she was on our show last week, schizophrenia, right? They said, oh, you're schizophrenic? And I was like, well, how did they diagnose you? She's like, well, I just went, told them I hear voices and see things, and they give me medication. There's no like brain scan where like, oh, there's a chemical 10% of your brain. So is there mental illnesses where it's a chemical imbalance? Yes. But there are a lot of people being misdiagnosed that have demons.
So that could be considered the cultural standard if you believe in these demons. But what happens if you don't? Let's keep going on more about schizophrenia. Okay, what is schizophrenia? The term schizophrenia comes from the Greek word for fractured mind and refers to changes in the mental functions where thoughts and perceptions become disordered. And they often involve hallucinations, delusions, and disorganized speech, which is where the person has a demon, and it's a shameful thing to be able to go through those things, or at least negative, scary, severe, poor reputation. That's what we consider schizophrenia, because it's tied into the demonic. And by the way, I'm using schizophrenia because I'm most familiar with. I'm diagnosed with bipolar disorder. One time I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. I haven't used any hallucinogens, but I've had experiences which could be considered maybe like going to the next dimension. So I have a fondness for schizophrenia, and I've learned some interesting thing about it. For instance, in a cultural snapshot of schizophrenia, in the Middle Ages in Europe, so this is like, one of the developmental times for our world. As we go to the second bullet, the Catholic Church viewed it as bizarre behavior as a sign of demonic possession or moral failing. So this is where it kind of comes from the church world. And the next one, people showing signs of hallucinations, delusions, or disordered speech were often accused of being possessed or even of witchcraft. There you go. And then exorcisms. Exorcisms were common treatments, and in extreme cases, individuals were persecuted or even executed. That's pretty heavy. On a lighter note, what's a demon's favorite type of workout? Anybody know? Exercise. I think that's my last one. Okay, going to the next slide about today. What's culturally how do we see schizophrenia, and how does it relate to demonology today? Beliefs in demon possession still persist in many parts of the world, especially in rural societies. Schizophrenia may still be seen as possessed or spiritual affected. And here's what's more, the modern church, the charismatic Pentecostal church communities, exorcisms are still performed on individuals showing symptoms of psychosis. Let's see. Obviously, Western medicine, we favor medication and psychotherapy. However, other cultures, they practice spiritual healing, rituals, herbal remedies. Even the ancient world had similar stuff as that. Okay. I don't know where that yellow. Okay. Let's kind of skip this. Okay, so what I want to do now, last part, is tell you about another perspective of demons. So this one is not necessarily a negative, scary perspective that we got from the old modern church world. This one is more of a potentialized psychological perspective of demons. And we find this in Zen, which have a totally different perspective, and also I think would say more positive. Okay, demons do appear in Zen not as literal evil spirits. They're completely different. They're obstacles to awakening, like delusion, attachment, anger, ego, awakening to enlightenment, awakening to our deeper, higher selves. These usually symbolize psychological resistance, existential fear, or egoic clinging that arises during deep meditation or spiritual practice. So it's basically because you're promoting spiritual practice and enlightenment as your goal, the demons are what is basically getting in the way, and it's psychological resistance. And they use these things called koans, I think it has it, or stories. Here's one of them.
One serene morning, as Gansuk sat in deep meditation beneath the shade of an ancient tree, a shadowy figure emerged from the depths of his mind. This figure, a manifestation of his inner fears and uncertainties, took on the form of a menacing demon. The demon's presence was overwhelming, its whispers sowing seeds of doubt and insecurity in Gansuk's thoughts. Gansuk, undeterred by the demon's appearance, recalled the teachings of his venerable master. The master had shared the ancient practice of feeding your demon, a technique rooted in the wisdom of Zen. With a serene smile, Gansuk gently opened his eyes and met the demon's gaze. "Greetings," he said calmly. The demon's voice echoed with a hint of malevolence. "I am the embodiment of your deepest fears, your insecurities, and your self-doubt." Gansuk nodded with a serene acceptance. "I recognize you as a part of me, an aspect I have yet to fully understand." The demon's features contorted with surprise. "You don't wish to banish me?" Gansuk shook his head. "No, for you are as much a part of me as my courage and determination. I choose to acknowledge you, to learn from you." The demon seemed taken aback by Gansuk's composed response. "But I'm here to torment you." Gansuk's eyes gleamed with insight. "You torment me only because I resist you. I choose to feed you." Gansuk continued to feed the demon. His demeanor radiated compassion and understanding. The demon's menacing features transformed into a more delicate aspect, a shadow of its former self. With the final spoonful of rice, Gansuk met the demon's gaze. "Born from my fears, you held power over me. But through understanding, I have taken away your strength." In that moment, the demon dissipated, like mist dissolving in the morning sun. Gansuk was left in a state of tranquil clarity, a testament to the transformative power of Zen practice.
I like that, the transformative power of Zen practice. can we actually take that softer perspective of back to schizophrenia? And that's kind of like one of the points of the whole neurodiversity gifts, where you see your diagnosis or your mental illness and all the things that you've gone through, and you turn them into something that you can give back to the community rather than resist and struggle with, and just stay in that, take medication and not. I mean, we've broken out of the box, so to say. How are we going to bridge the two? This new kind of understanding of demons through Zen, but also this kind of hard but true written in the Bible things about the devil and demons and all the different names that we're quote unquote scared of. Do we have to be scared of it? And let's see, that is a new paradigm, a new paradigm. And the final thing is that if you take the Bible and you take Zen and you take even schizophrenia and mental health, there's potential for transformation in all of them. And if we're able to kind of blend the perspectives, I think especially of demons, we'll be able to transform the mental health system and beyond. And I'll read this last thing. There's good news. There is a yin and yang principle at work here in modern psychology, most particularly with the diagnosis of schizophrenia, who are beginning to show their gifts, and they're actually going more away from the demons of the past. So instead of embracing the demons of the past, we're going on to the gifts of the future. And schizophrenia and the people that have suffered that way are very special because they're the ones that are gonna that have gone deep into both sides. And so with that spectrum, we're going to move forward, and they're going to maybe be our leaders. Thank you.
Join our next gathering. For the date and time, check out aslansway.com.